2,921 pounds of gold, 5,100 pounds of silver, oodles of jewels, worth almost 300,000 this year. All this shiny treasure, buried in the United States. The state of Virginia, around the early 1820s, is today worth many millions. Estimates from different sources range from 43 to 93 million, and its location is hidden by a code, the Beale Cipher, through a ciphertext that could theoretically be cracked by a 7-year-old with the right tools. The vast riches and the apparent ease of finding them have attracted many a hopeful entrepreneur to the Beale Ciphers. Both lay people and experts have tried their hands at it, and it's been 2 centuries since the treasure was stashed away. So why hasn't anyone found its location? To put it simply, things are never as simple as they seem. In 1885, James B. Ward of Virginia published the Beale Papers, a pamphlet that contained the ciphers as well as detailed story of their past. This story begins with the charming, enigmatic adventurer Thomas J. Beale, the man who buried the treasure and created the ciphers. It goes like this. In 1818, Beale and his adventuring party discovered gold and silver some 100 miles north of Santa Fe, then a city of Mexico. The possession of such valuable materials in so wild and dangerous a locality would endanger the party, so they chose to bury it in a cave in Virginia. In case anything happened to Beale and company, Beale sought a trustworthy person to tell the location of the treasure. He found his confidant in Robert Morris, an innkeeper with whom Beale had acquaintanced himself. But of course, Beale didn't simply tell Morris where the treasure was. In fact, he didn't tell Morris that there was a treasure at all. In his roundabout way, Beale gave Morris a box and instructed Morris to open it if Beale failed to return in 10 years. Morris actually waited 23 years, but he unlocked the box to find a long letter written from Beale, explaining the situation and the 3 sheets of seemingly random numbers, the ciphertext. For Beale had not simply written the location of the treasure in words. For extra security, he'd coded it. For almost 2 decades, Morris tried to crack the cipher with no luck. As he grew old, he knew he would have to tell others about the Beale ciphers, else the treasure would be lost forever. One unnamed person who learned of the Beale ciphers successfully cracked the second cipher using the Declaration of Independence, one of America's most treasured historical documents, as a key. Each word in the Declaration of Independence was numbered like so: when, 1, in, 2, D, 3, cause, 4, of, 5, human, 6, events, 7, it, 8, becomes, 9, necessary, 10, 4, 11, 1, 12, people, 13, 2, 14, dissolve, 15. Each number represents the first letter of the corresponding word. So for example, the ciphertext 1467 becomes THE, there. The crypt in the second Beale cipher revealed the message: I have deposited in the county of Bedford, about 4 miles from Beaufort, in an excavation or vault, 6 feet below the surface of the ground, the following articles, and Beale went on to specify the exact amount of gold, silver, and jewels that had been deposited. It's a very simple cipher. Again, a second grader could solve this code, but they would need the right document. The hard part, surely, is just finding which document Beale used to encrypt the first and the third cipher, but it's not quite that easy. In 2013, cryptanalyst Todd D. Matter wrote a computer program to solve Cipher 2 with the Declaration of Independence. His first try resulted in a high deposited Occident NT Oint Audit Strasser. After all, there were no computers in the 18th century, only human mistakes. A single mistake in numbering by hand would mark up the whole key, making it quite difficult for someone else to decode. and the second cipher's number go up to 1005. Plenty of room for mistakes. Mutter went through several rounds of fixing the key, painstaking process even without modern technology. For somewhat identifiable words, like deposited, he edited the numbering so that the number that corresponded to the second O become I, then run the program again. A few more recognizable words appeared, twif and 88. In this manner, Mutter slowly unraveled the cipher. It took 10 rounds of program. Some word fixes required larger stretches of imagination. Tiava, for example, become silver. Even with technology, knowing the content of the cipher and the document serving as the key, decryption was still difficult. It is then exponentially difficult for the mysterious cipher 1 and 3. Without the code having been already cracked, the prior knowledge that the cipher spoke of silver, would Mutter have been able to crack the code? And that begs the question, how exactly did that anonymous person from the 19th century manage to do it? What are the odds of that person stumbling upon the correct document to use and either making the same mistakes as Beale or being really good at guessing? There is something off about this story. The world can be divided into two categories: the Beale believers and the non-believers, and the third category for people who don't know about the ciphers. There is evidence for both stances, much of it circumstantial at best. In favor of the ciphers, a Chilean legend dated from 1820s about gold and silver taken from the west and buried in the east. A Thomas Beale list as a customer of the St. Louis Post Department in 1820. Thomas Beale, in the pamphlet, sent a letter to Robert Morris in 1822. Beale's existence cannot conclusively be denied, but neither can it be confirmed. Against the cipher's authenticity, and perhaps even the existence of Thomas Beale, stylometry, a language analysis, suggests that Beale's letter and the author of the pamphlet had significant stylistic similarities. In other words, they might have been written by the same person. The letter contains words like stampeding that had not been yet printed in English in the 1820s. And then there's logic. Why would Beale go to the immense trouble of coding 3 separate ciphers with 3 separate keys? Meanwhile, there is a solid motive for making the whole thing up. The 1885 pamphlet were 50 cents a piece, which is about $13 today. As far as get-rich-quick schemes go, that's pretty profitable. It's fun to think about the ciphers as they are presented in the pamphlet, a code leading to hidden wealth that anyone can get their hands on with just a bit of sleuthing and smidgen of luck. The ciphers look so short from a distance, the potential profit so high. It's attractive. So attractive that all the way back in 1984, the Washington Post noted that Beale's treasure hunters had spent thousands of years and likely hundreds of millions of dollars on their search efforts. Well, that's a bit much. If you really want to, there is no harm in looking up the Beale ciphers. Perhaps the original pamphlets puts it best. When your day's work is done and you are comfortably seated by your good fire, a short time devoted to the subject can injure no one. It may bring its reward. Just don't be like Marilyn Parsons, who dug up someone's grave thinking that was the treasure's burial site. Whether you believe in them or not, the ciphers are shrouded in mystery, and it's only natural to want to take a peek at mystery, especially when it comes with a possible promise of riches.